Hey, it's Zach with Real Property Associates here. I just recorded the September market update, so if you go, man, he's wearing the same shirt with the same backdrop, it's because I'm in the same spot at the same time. So I want to do a quarter three update, so a little bit more about the summer in general and then focusing in on the year in specific. So in Q1, we had a $620,000 median sales price in Seattle, which at the time was the highest that we'd ever seen for a quarter. And then again in quarter two, we trumped that. We went up to 625. And an interesting fact, the sales price was 6% on average over the asking price. And then in quarter three, we saw a bit of a slowdown, and it was just kind of a slow, gradual dropping of the median sales price. We saw a $610,000 median sales price for quarter three and about 3.5% over the asking price. So we did see a little bit of a slowdown, but for those of you that have bought a house before, have observed the real estate market over time, we're still in an extremely hot real estate market in the city of Seattle. And just for perspective, at this point, this year so far, we have a $621,000 median sales price average. And at this point last year, so last year's average was $550,000. So overall, so far this year, we've seen a 13% increase in those prices. Now, the last couple months of the year will play a factor as well, so we might see that margin drop a little bit, but at this point, we're up 13% from last year, which is extremely high. Even if you bought a year ago, you could turn it in and make a profit. A few of the contributing factors I think that have shown a little bit of a decrease have been inventory. So we've seen a little bit more inventory on the market, and it's not a ton more, but it's enough where the demand's remained steady, has remained stable, and the inventory's increased. So we've seen a little bit of a decrease there in the multiple offer situations. We're still seeing multiple, but instead of maybe 25 or 20 or 15, it's more like 2 or 3. And I've seen this on some of my listings too, where we're getting a couple asking price offers instead of 3 that are way over the asking price. So people are being a little bit more realistic, and it's more in the suburbs where we're seeing the asking price. We're still seeing in Seattle, my listings in Seattle have still been over the asking price, but specifically more on the suburbs, we're definitely seeing a little bit more of that cooling than we are in Seattle. A few other things that are interesting to note about Q3. So in Canada, Vancouver, they passed a law that for a foreign investor that's buying real estate in BC, they're gonna end up paying a 15% tax as a foreign investor. So there's a lot of hoopla about this, specifically in Canada, but one of the byproducts of that is that foreign investors that were looking at BC and investing there are now shifting their focus to Seattle. And those investors were already here, but we've seen more of that here in the last few months. So that might actually carry us and keep our market continuing to inflate. And then another interesting factor is the interest rates. People, and you might have heard this, the Fed's talking about raising the interest rates. And although those aren't directly tied to the real estate interest rates for mortgages, they do affect it. Typically, the stock market, once they do their job growth reports, the stock market might go up or down a little bit depending on what we see, and that would affect the bond market, which is ultimately what those interest rates are going to be determined by. And typically, actually, if the stock market goes down, the bond market goes up, which then makes interest rates go lower. So that's where we've been seeing actually lower interest rates. We actually have record low interest rates right now. So if those are going to continue to maintain, I doubt it'll stay that way forever, and all the lenders that I talk with don't see that continuing on forever indefinitely. It's a pretty low mark, but if you are thinking about buying a house, it's definitely still a good time to jump in, even with the prices being where they're at. If the prices keep going up and then the interest rates jump too, you're really going to be missing out. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys next month. Bye for now.